Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and our online interview edition. Today, we want to talk for an update to Robert Bob Wares, who is the CEO of Osisko Metals. And yeah, we want to talk about base metals now. We did a lot of gold in the last weeks, but now it's time for zinc and lead in Canada. Bob, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Jochen. I'm doing very well.
Super, perfect. Glad to hear that, and thanks for taking the time to get up early for us. Highly appreciate it. Osisko Metals, great company, of course, belonging to the Osisko Group, and you have just finished your fall drill program, which I rate as a very good success. I would say you had like 8.6 meters with 15% zinc and lead. You had almost 29 meters with 30% zinc. Can you really comment a bit on that, please?
Absolutely. And thank you for allowing us this interview. So a bit of background, of course, on Pine Point. This is an acquisition we made about 2 years ago, and we've been moving along, developing the project to define a very significant resource. As it stands, it's one of the very few zinc development projects on the planet. And unfortunately, there are only a handful. And of course, we decided to focus on zinc because the fundamentals have not changed. The world is headed for a supply crunch in zinc in the next 3-4 years. We need to find more deposits. We need to find new mines. And despite the setback, which bottomed out in last March at 85 cents zinc, now we're back onto, I think, is a bull market in general for base metals. And of course, zinc spot prices reacted very well. It's back up to $1.28. And at these prices, Pine Point is really a gem of a project. So the drill programs had two objectives so far, is to better define the resources that are known, the historical resources. We do have the obligation, and it's important for shareholders to acknowledge the fact that we have to convert the whole resource to measured 43-101 compatible resources in order to eventually define reserves. So right now our entire resource is essentially in the inferred category because we have not done enough confirmatory drilling to convert to indicated. The second objective of the drill program is to expand on the resources that are known. Many of the deposits are open. And thirdly, there's, of course, the brownfield exploration on new targets in areas where no mineralization was previously known. So the fall drill program really focused on resource expansion and also on testing some new targets. And the bulk of the success really was around the resource expansion, where we were able to drill into the margins and also some infilling within the resource model, and come up with beautiful results, really, that not only confirm mineralization extends from known areas, but also confirm the higher grades in some of the prismatic deposits.
Okay, super. So what does it mean now? How many more meters do you think you have to drill for the conversion? And when will we see a resource estimate? Will it happen next year already?
Well, right now we estimate about another 50,000 to complete our expansion program and confirmatory program. A lot of that's going to be done in 2021. And we're hoping probably in about I would say beginning of 2022 to have a new resource estimate. And this will allow, we right now in the PEA, the preliminary, we can't call them reserves, of course, because it was all based on the inferred resource, but potentially mineable resource, we're at about 40 million tons. The total resource base right now is at 52, but that's part of the conversion program to get as much of the indicated resource into what could potentially be converted to reserves over the longer term with feasibility. So a lot of drilling in 2021. I'm quite excited about a couple of geophysical targets that we'll be able to test, but more importantly, we're also going to focus on resource expansion and also confirming the high grades in some of those prismatics. They're really quite spectacular. As you recall, in 053, we did some infill drilling, and that's where the 30 meters or 28 meters of 30% combined lead zinc came through. And it was an excellent infill hole that demonstrates there's a lot of high-grade material to be had at Point.
Okay, super. What does mean prismatic mineralization?
They're essentially vertical pipes. They're vertical
Okay.
tube mineralization, quite high grade. And from those, you have flat-lying tabular mineralization that extends around there and between the prismatic pipes. So again, we were able to extend the tabular mineralization around 053, and we also had some success in the other portions of the deposit, like the N65 zone. So right now, I would say in terms of resource volume, there's probably more potential with the tabular extensions. But in terms of higher grade, the cherries or the plums in the cake, that's going to be the prismatic zones. And there are many more prismatics that we need to test in the coming year as well to confirm the high grade mineralization.
Okay, great. So if I understand that correct, the tabular mineralization is like more flat and the prismatic is vertical. Is that a problem for mining, or can you still use standard methods?
No, it's all open pit. These are all shallow deposits, less than 80 meters from surface. And so our entire model is open pitable. Right now, we have a minor proportion, 3 million tons underground, which would be essentially an underground extension from the bottom of pits to access the tabular in a more economic fashion. But really, it's a small percentage of the overall mining model right now. Everything is essentially going to be open pit. And again, these are not deep pits. They would all be less than 100 meters deep.
Well, that's really nothing in an open pit base. Definitely, that's fantastic. Super. Yeah, because it means also the capex is much lower than underground, of course. And when you only have to go like 100 meters down, you do not have to do very steep your walls and stuff like this. I think that's quite exciting, honestly, with those grades.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, I saw that you recently just closed another royalty financing with Osisko Royalties. Right. That's fantastic. Those were $6.5 million, and you do a $2 million private placement. The $6.5 million were for 0.5% NSR. So how much NSR has Osisko now, and what were the terms here?
Well, this rounds off the entire deal to $13 million for 2% NSR. And so the additional NSR really is a minor encumbrance on the project. Since we started the project, zinc prices improved. Just to give you an idea, half NSR is worth about 2 cents on the spot price of the zinc. So with the increase in the spot price, which we believe zinc will continue to improve, the NSR really becomes, the additional NSR becomes quite irrelevant, actually, in the valuation of the project. The main drive towards increasing value here will be increasing the resource, trying to lower the capex. I'll get to that in a minute, respect to our PEA. And I recall our PEA, we had $550 million. Canadian for the capex, but a lot of that went into water management, and I'll touch on that momentarily. So the increase, a nickel increase in the spot price of zinc makes a huge impact. Right now, we're just within reach of $1.30 zinc, US zinc per pound, and that translates into our NPV growing to about $650 million. From the 500 million that we had in the PEA. So if you look at the sensitivity tables in the PEA, you see that the project gains tremendous value with even a nickel or dime increase in the spot price of zinc. It's very sensitive. So that's positive for us because we started, of course, this project in belief that we're entering a long-term bull market for zinc because the supply disruptions which are coming and the mine closures which are coming. And in the last 2 years, we could not have anticipated the bear market that I guess zinc peaked in about beginning of 2018, and then went on a bear market, which bottomed out last March because of COVID, because of the trade wars, so U.S. and China trade wars. All that is behind us, and China is back on the line, being a zinc consumer. And so we're seeing the inventory starting to drop again and the price rising. So I'm very, very bullish on zinc, and I think we're going to have a very good market developing over the next few years.
Fantastic. So do I, to be honest. Like the same, like I am for the precious metals. And it looks to me like, as I know Osisko Gold Royalties really well, they would not invest that amount of money if they are not 150% safe. First of all, with the project, with the management, but also with the market. That is for sure. Super. Final question. If I got that right, you want to drill next year 50,000 meters?
We haven't set the total number of meters right now. Our budget for next year for drilling will be, I would say, we're going to start off with 5 million from the financing we're doing now. And now one of the key elements, which is weighing on this project, which is out there in the market, is water management. That was addressed in the PEA. There's no hard quantitative data on water flow within the Pine Point aquifer there, especially the western end. In the PEA, the engineers, they almost built into the PEA and the CAPEX a worst case scenario for water flow in the system. So basically, over life of mine, including CAPEX, sustaining, and OPEX, it's $350 million that was built into the PEA in terms of water management, which I think is a huge amount of money.
That's a lot.
That's right. But barring quantitative data that would allow to really constrain or better model the true cost of water management, the engineers, of course, played it safe and then put a lot of money into it. So I want to put this to bed, this rumor, if you like, or a concern by shareholders over water management at Pine Point. So starting next summer or this spring, we are going to drill holes in the West End, especially where the source of the waters are. They'll serve three purposes. We will be able to do infill drilling on the prismatic deposits in the West End, which are the highest grade on the property. And so that confirmatory drilling will be very useful. We'll be able to do metallurgy on the sulfides in those zones, which we have no data right now. There's no reason to believe that the metallurgy is any different from the central or east mill zone, but it has to be done. And finally, those very same holes are going to be extended down to the base of the Pine Point Formation, from which we're going to do water flow tests and pumping tests. And that data will allow us to really quantify the water flow and the hydrogeological model in the system to be able to better estimate the costs of mitigating this. So that will translate into a much better estimate for grouting to constrain water flow, which is a CAPEX cost, and the pumping cost during the life of mine, which will be an OPEX cost. So I'm very much looking forward to this drill program because it'll serve, the same holes will serve three purposes. They'll be very cost effective, and I'm confident that we'll be able to put this issue to bed once and for all.
Super, that's perfect. Yeah, sorry, please.
Yeah. Very much looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too, honestly. That's fantastic. Exactly. Super. Well, Bob, thank you very much. It was a great update and a really, really compelling story, of course. And I think it's very important that you really address those, let's say, not water issues, but this the water thematic, I would call it. And because this is definitely one concern in the market, and it's always good to address concerns immediately, and also to work then also on the PEA and do more drilling to confirm and bring up the categories in the resources. That's super. Fantastic.
Exactly.
Super. Bob, thank you very much. And I wish you Merry Christmas. All the best for 2021. I have a good feeling that we have a lot of more interviews next year together, even if we cannot meet us by now, but at least we can do it online, and hopefully we can do it by fall next year then personally. That would be great. And
yes, I'm very looking forward actually to going to the Swiss meeting next fall. And I hope by then restrictions will be lifted and I can make my way down to both Germany and Switzerland.
That would be super. We should have then a nice dinner together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Super. All right. Thank you very much. Stay healthy. That's the most important thing. And yeah, Happy New Year and Merry Christmas.
Yes, same to you. Take care.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Robert Bob Wares, the CEO of Osisko Metals. Yeah, you heard it. Enough money in the bank. Osisko Royalties just topped up their NSR with $6.5 million. Again, they have done a $2 million private placement. Some good funds I also know are in there. And yeah, it looks like to address water thematic stuff, which the market rated a little bit as an issue, I think this is perfect for 2021. And the company is doing that really right. And they are drilling a lot to really bring up the categories and the resources and the tonnages. This is a great project. Zinc is on the run. This is a real bull market here too, as we need a lot of zinc and also lead in the future. And I would suggest really check out Osisko Metals because the stock is still cheap, and probably with some more good news, it will be much more expensive. So I wish you also Merry Christmas. Thank you very much, and bye-bye from Switzerland.